Howdy folks, Chris here from CC Detecting and Scrapping with another quick video on the what to expect when you take apart a basic home tower. Today we're going to take a look at drives. I got a floppy drive and I got a DVD drive. Those are the two most common ones you'll find. You may also find the zip drive, which is pretty much the same as a floppy drive, or you might find the old 5 1/4 inch floppy drives. Those ones are fun to take apart. I've taken apart a few of them, and the casing is usually aluminum, so you get a good one there. Some of the CD drives and some of the floppy drives will also have some aluminum in them, but most of them are just tin. So let me get this turned around. Just a quick note, this one here isn't your standard floppy drive. It's one of the hybrid card reader as well as floppy drives. So it's going to be a little bit different than what you might find in a standard floppy drive, but it shouldn't be too much different, I don't think. I've never taken one of these apart, so we're going to do this together. Alright, so just let me get this camera set up and we'll go from there. So the first thing that's different about this type of floppy drive versus a regular one is this cable sticking out. This cable will be attached to the card reader drive. And if you notice, as I did here, there's some gold pins in there, so we can pop those out later. So let's, it looks like it's just a couple screws here on the side, one there and one there to take out. So let's take those out and then get this opened up. Alright, so I popped the screws out. There's just a couple little tabs here which pop this tin casing off. We have the wire attached. We'll just pull that out and we'll deal with that later. That appears to be a shielded cable. So we'll cut the ends off, get the gold pins out, and go from there. And then on this board itself, as you can see here, we have some gold pins up here. Some more gold pins on this reader. It appears just to be held in with a couple screws, so we'll take those out. We have a little tiny motor there. And then some more pins, which I'm not too sure if those are gold pinned or not. We'll have to take a quick look. So let's get the circuit board off and I'll show you what the inside looks like. Okay, so I just took out those two screws. And the circuit board should just pop right out. But if not, then we'll make sure that it does. There we go. So we're just going to throw this circuit board in our bin. It's got a couple of monolithic ceramic capacitors, the gold pins like I had mentioned earlier, crystal oscillator. So it's got a couple of pretty good things, and then we'll just, I'm not sure if that's just a, yep, that's just a plastic coating. So we'll see if there's anything else. Looks like we have some gold flashing there. And that could be about it. Little gold flashing on the corners. That'll come off later when we process the boards. So there we go. So let's just throw that in the bin and then see what else we got. So with this, we have, let's see if this comes out any easier. We might have to have a few screws there, or we might have one or two screws you have to take out. Let me get those screws out and then we'll get the rest of this apart. Alright, a little bit more compact with a little bit extra screws in there than the normal ones. So the bottom is just a bit of tin. This is the feed. This go in here. That's just tin. There was a little bit of copper plating on, this is the reader. So it was sitting on there, so it came out. These guide shafts, this is what the reader slides up and down on. These will sometimes be stainless steel or brass or regular steel, so we do a quick check. This one is just regular tin, so we'll throw that in the pile. A little bit more tin there popping off. We have one, we'll classify that as copper bearing, and one more circuit board. And then these spindles here are usually a type of clean brass or aluminum. So as you can see, magnet sticks to there. This has actually got a couple of rounds of copper in it, copper threading, and then this is brass. So these motors here are actually pretty easy to take apart. It's just a pair of snips, so you pop the end off and you can get access to the two little, like they're, how do I describe them? There are a couple little wheels of copper thread in there. So, or you can just leave, oh, there's a good example. So you can see there's two little copper spindles in there. That's what I was looking for. If you want to take those apart, or you can just leave that as it is and that'll go into your copper motor pile. So that's about it for the floppy drive. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish taking off these circuit boards. The pins in here, these are the IDE connectors, and the power, I believe that one is, appear to be gold plated in here. So when we process the circuit boards, we'll pop those out. A couple of low grade boards as well attached. So, but yeah, they're fun to take apart. They're pretty quick. So let me get these off here, and we'll just take care of that real quick, and then we'll move on to the CD drives. Alright, so just a few things here. That copper bearing wheel I showed you, so that's what that is. That'll just go into a copper bearing bin. I'm going to throw this into a bin to take care of later. I do these things when I'm watching TV and stuff like that, so they don't make too much of a mess, and we'll go from there. So now here's the CD drive. All CD drives are pretty much the same as my other technology. You know, they'll have some motors to eject the tray, they'll have some motors to spin the disc so that it can read, and then there'll be a reader in there, and they'll all have some type of board with usually gold pins on it. This one here appears to have just the 4 screws holding it in, so let's get this apart and I'll show you what's inside. Alright, so the screws are out. We'll just take this is just a pile of tin. And then inside we have a pretty good looking circuit board here, lots of monolithic on it, and like I said before, the gold pins. I don't think that's actually fastened in there too well. Let's see if that comes out easily or not. We have these cables, these white ribbon cables. Always check the ends on those, because where you see where it's silver there, those will sometimes be gold flashed instead. So this circuit board here, the one clip holding it in. There we go. And then that one is also silver, or well, I don't know if that's silver or not, but it's not gold flashed. But oops, I'll break that, I guess. We do have a little bit of gold pins in there. The gold pins there, like I said, and then lots of little monolithic ceramics to process, and that might be one. That might be an EEPROM. Usually with the glass windows, it's a type of EEPROM, so that might be a pretty good one as well. Right on. So that's a pretty good board to collect. I think if you were to sell these boards, that these ones might have their own category. Otherwise, they'd just be mid-grade. What else we got in here? Again, we have another one of those these type of motors here with usually the brass. Another low-grade board. This is the reader. If you want, you can spend all the time to get the aluminum, clean aluminum, or just clean up a little bit and throw it in your dirty aluminum bin. Or if it's really dirty, then just right into your steel bin. The white ribbon cables go into their own bin as well, or at least I do. And then these bars here that the reader slides up against, again, these are sometimes brass, sometimes stainless steel, and sometimes regular steel. So let's see if they're worth collecting. And these ones are not worth collecting, so they're steel. We have one motor there. I don't know if you can see that in there. Bad camera angle. So we have one motor right there, and then another motor right here. Let's see if we can get this front face off pretty easily. Nope. We have to get some screwdrivers in there and start prying some stuff out. So let me do that, and we'll show you what it looks like when we get the rest of the case off. Alright, so we got the steel case off, and I've pried a few more plastic things off. To get at this motor here, we need to remove the tray, so I snapped that out so it's just easily done. There we go. Does not appear to be a type of plastic I can recycle, so I'll throw that just into the regular garbage bin. And then we're going to start taking some screws out, and we'll get this motor here, and we'll get that motor there. Hopefully it's pretty easy. Okay, so I've taken this motor out here. It's just to fasten to that board. That's a low-grade board. That little button there, you can hear it click. Those are, we'll usually have a silver type of contact in there. Let's get rid of that ribbon. So that's what we'll do with that circuit board. We'll just pop this motor off real quick, and then that'll go into our motors bin, and then the board will go into the low-grade bin. For this here, you can put this into your steel bin as is, or you can spend a few minutes and take off that motor. And that motor is just a couple screws here, and then undoing this one will also, I believe, release these two screws here will release the reed head, which you can then put into your dirty brass, or sorry, your dirty aluminum, irony aluminum. Let me just do that real quick. There we go. And again, these are just regular steel, so they'll just go into the tin bin. We got this one here. I'll just throw some screws around. There we go. This here, what I do normally is I take a pair of pliers and I pry that off. But what I'll do for now, again, it's got the two spindles of copper in there. I'm just going to throw this in with this one here for now, and then I'll take care of all those at a later date. And then for this one here, of course, it's got to be a different type of screw because it just wouldn't make sense to have everything the same. Let me find that type of screw, and we'll get that motor off and clean this up and wrap up this video real quick. As you can see, the different type of screw there. So that's just a quick video on drives. They're pretty simple to take apart, and with those types of drives, you can sell them as is. You can break them down a little bit to make a little bit more money. You can break them down a lot to make pretty good money, or you can break them down too much and start losing money. Some of those things like the reed heads and all that, you can spend quite a while just to make sure that you have a chunk of clean aluminum, which at the end of the day is really not worth the time that you put into it. So you can throw that in your dirty aluminum, throw it in your tin. Whichever way you look at it, it's negligible the amount that you'll actually physically receive for it. So for those though, for any types of drives, I would suggest you get a good bundle of them going. As you start going through them, they will get faster when you don't have to go digging through your screwdrivers. You'll end up with a common set of tools that you'll need, and then by the last one, you'll just whip through it all. So that's just a quick suggestion. That's how I do it normally. So it works out pretty good. So that about wraps up this video, I guess. There's not really much more else to say about drives other than the circuit boards are pretty good to sell if you're processing them on your own. They through the board in the box, so I can't show you that. They are pretty good to process on your own as well. So that's pretty cool, and they're fun to take apart. I really do. I find them fun anyway. So that's just me though. May not be you. You may just want to throw them in your tin bin and be done with them. So anywho, like I said, that wraps up this one here. I hope you found it kind of interesting. If you have any comments, suggestions, or see something that I'm doing different that or needs to be done differently, just let me know in the comment section. And other than that, just have a great day. So like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon, folks. Thanks a lot. Bye.